Okay, thank you very much for replying. Okay, see, I have executed the Eclipse, so it is just about to start. So once my Eclipse got started, I will share the things with you. Okay. I also heard that you require some PPTs, which I am using. So no doubt, I will share the PPTs once you start session with me. Okay. So it is not like I don't want to share. I will share, but let the admission process complete, then I will share it with you. Okay. So here I'm executing a program. We are going to see Hypernet and string. Okay. So here I need to add server. Execute the program in front of you so that you understand the flow and all that stuff. Okay, so let's right click on this and say run as application. Okay, run as server. Click on next. Here already configured, showing the project name Spring ADBC. Say finish. You can see at the right side, it is executing the project. It is preparing the project to load, starting Tomcat 7.0. So I'm using 7.0 in our application. We have number of choices of in server. We can use Apache Tomcat 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm using 7. Okay. So it is about to start. You can see the process is already executed. Now only we have to see the output. Meanwhile, I will start the MySQL. I'm using MySQL in this example. It is not necessary that always we need to execute on MySQL. You can use Oracle SQL Server as well. Okay. So meanwhile, I will start the MySQL. Here it is. Command line. So the password I have used here is pass. This is the SQL Server CU I am using, so that we can come to know whether project is running or not. So we will insert value, delete the value, and all that stuff we will do. So you can see here at the up at the side, you can see add employee and view employee. Okay, these are hyperlinks available. Okay, now what I want to do, I want to add the employee. Okay, or even I want to view the employee. So I will first view the employee. So I have clicked on that link. Now the page will be there where the all records are here. See, you can see Praveen, 56,000 salary, developer. You can edit it, you can delete it also. Okay, similarly, you have Gopinath, 58,000 salary, manager, edit you can do, delete also you can do. Then there is Nilesh, who is having 35,000 salary, trainer, and you can edit and delete. Okay, now I want to add one more record into it. So I will click on add new. Okay, so it's like a CRUD operation. CRUD means CRUD. In CRUD, CR stands for create table, U stands for update, and D stands for delete. So I'm showing such a project where I can add the values, I can view the values, I can delete the values, and I can edit the values. Okay. So let's have, say, suppose Himanshu is the person. He's having salary, say, 59,000. Okay. And the designation is developer. Okay. So click on save. Now that record will be added here. You can see it is added over here. Okay, so this is how this project going to work. So if you want to delete it, say I want to delete Nilesh record, so I will click on delete. So you can see the record is deleted. Now there is no Nilesh record. Okay, again, if you want to add the record, you can go for add new. Okay, so now what I will do is I will take you through this particular project. It's a small kind of project. We have not done any kind of bootstrap or CSS or HTML. No, it's a simple Java project. Okay, we have used here Spring Maven. Now, basically, Maven is a tool which allows us to integrate Spring and Hibernate together and perform the operations. Okay, so we are going to use Maven framework, or you can say Maven tool, which we can use to bind Hibernate, not Hibernate, so sorry, Java records with the database. Okay, so let me show you that particular table. Now, how to find out which table and which database I'm using? So for that, what you can do is go to dispatcher servlet. Okay, it is the one which is receiving the request first. Okay. Now try to understand. I'm overall telling you, not in. I'm not taking you in depth because this is not a session. This is just a boot camp. So I'm not giving end-to-end idea to you. I'm giving you how this project is going to work. So you can see here is the data. Here is the database. Okay, I will just increase the size. So preferences mein jate, we go to preferences. Here there is something called general. So just expand the general, and you can go for appearance. In appearance, you will able to see the font. So see here it is close colors and fonts. So I'm going to take color and font from here. So it is still loading. Okay, it should actually say text. So say text font. Let's see whether it is, yeah. So we can set the text font size. So go to edit and increase the size so that you can see it comfortably. What is the database and what is the table I'm using behind it? Okay. So mainly I'm using Spring MVC framework, and using Spring MVC framework, I'm going to store and retrieve and delete and sort the records in database. Okay. That is what the today's agenda. Okay. So I will make it as 14. Hope so. 18 is a quite good size to display. Okay, so here you can say apply, right? Okay, and say okay here. Okay, right? Very good. Let's see whether it is now visible. Are you able to read this particular, guys? Everyone, can you able to read this? Are you replying in text, or you want to tell me? Is it visible, guys? Is this particular dispatcher servlet visible? Please reply. Otherwise, I won't able to understand whether you are able to see it or not. Okay, thank you, Monica. Thanks for replying. Okay, so I will take you through, a kind of MVC architecture first, and then we will understand this particular project. Okay, so it's a small project where I'm doing insert, update, delete, edit, and records. Okay, so I have Word with me, so I'm going to use Word, and I will show you how MVC works first, because we have used MVC architecture here. Okay, so I will say here win Word. So Word will get open, and there I will explain you how the MVC is working. Okay, I need to use Word, otherwise I cannot move ahead. So let's wait for Word to get open. Surely, when we start the session, actually sessions, then I will take care that you should not get ideal in the session. I will modify the configuration in my laptop so that it will work fast. It will not be like this what what you are experiencing now. So I will do the necessary changes in my laptop. Okay. Now what we are going to do is we are going to design a image. Okay. So I've shown you MVC how it is. Okay. So here I'm going for a triangle. This is the one. Okay. I'm drawing this triangle here, and here at the top of the rectangle, at the top of the image, we will going to write view. So here we got view, and this view can be generated using Spring, or you can say using JSP, right? And HTML and Bootstrap and CSS. Okay. So let me draw the text box. I will write it here. So this is my view. Okay, we are understanding MVC framework with the database. Okay, so in MVC, this is the view. Okay, now view can be created using HTML, CSS, or maybe Bootstrap. Okay, or JSP also. Right. So these are the different technologies which we can use to print the view, to create the view. Okay, now I'm going to write one arrow. So what happens is when user gives a request, that request will directly come to the controller, and controller is the one who is controlling entire operations of the project. Okay, so the request will directly come to the controller from view. So here I'm going to draw the controller. And in this controller, we have something like we have a dispatcher servlet, uh, controller itself. That particular controller will listen the request, and this controller will ask the parameter or ask the model to execute the related text or related process. So here is my model. So this model can be created in Java classes. I explain it one more time so that you can understand thoroughly. I said we are using MVC architecture where we are using view. Okay, so from view, the request will come to the controller. What controller will do? Controller will check whether I have any Java class or method to fulfill this request. If it is, then my model, or that is what my Java class, will do the computation on the request and send the result back to the controller. Send the result back to the controller, and controller will send it to the view. Controller will send it to the view. So this is actually what MVC architecture. It is MVC. I will increase the font so that you can see comfortably. Okay, so MVC stands for Model View Controller. Okay, right? So what happened is V is HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, ASP. So we can use these technologies to create a view. We have model where exclusively we are using Java classes. We call it as DOM, or you can say DAO. So these are the DAO classes. DAO stands for Data Access Object. Okay, right? Then we have controller. Okay, controller is exclusively created using Java code, and this is the controller who is controlling entire operations of the project. right? Are you with me? Are you understanding what I'm saying? I will take this
Yes,
feedback in between. Yeah.
yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Pankaj. Thank you for replying. Let's move ahead. Now, I will give you a simple example to understand this MVC architecture. For example, if I went to a hotel for for lunch, right? And I have ordered, say, veg Manchurian. Okay, so I'm who I am. I am the view. That is, I am the customer. So I will place the record, or I will place the request to the waiter. Okay, waiter will take that request and go to the cafeteria, and it will go to the kitchen and hand over this request to the particular chef. I repeat the scenario. I want to take a lunch. So what I did, I went into the hotel, right? And in hotel, I sit on a chair. In front of me, there is a table. So it's a good environment where I'm taking a lunch. Okay, so I'm asking for veg Manchurian. Okay, so who will take that request of veg Manchurian? This will be taken by your waiter. Now, once the waiter retrieve my request, this request will be placed to the chef, which is there in cafeteria or in kitchen. So what that chef will do, chef will process that particular dish and hand over it back to the controller, that is your waiter, and waiter will give it to me. So in this scenario, myself is the view. Here I'm sitting. I'm giving an order to the controller that please make a veg Manchurian for me. Okay, this particular request will be taken by this waiter, and it will be placed to the model. So model is nothing but a kitchen, and a chef is there in the kitchen. So this controller have handed over the request to the particular class or particular chef. Then that class or chef will process your request and send it back to the controller, that is waiter, and then waiter will give it to me. Waiter will give it to me. So it's a simple hotel example we can understand for learning this particular MVC architecture. Okay, I explain you one more time. Okay, so here in view is nothing but our customer. He is placing the request to the controller. This request will be handed over to the model, that is a Java class. Java class will process that request and give it back to the controller, and then controller will give it back to the view, right? So this is what MVC architecture is all about. So using this architecture, we are going to see one project which is having connectivity with the JDBC. Okay, and tomorrow we are going to do the same operation, CRUD operation only, but using Hibernate. Okay, so at that time I will let you know about the differences between JDBC and Hibernate. Why should I go for Hibernate where I have JDBC, right? So that differences also we will see tomorrow. So right now we will going ahead with this particular project. So you can see the structure of my project. There is a deployment descriptor, Java resources, JavaScript resources, deployed resources, SRC, target, and pom.xml. Now let's talk about Maven project. So your Maven project, Maven tool is having one file called as pom.xml. Pom.xml stands for Project Object Model. What is the full form of POM? It is Project Object Model or Program Object Model, whatever you say. So it's like a Program Object Model or Project Object Model. So this particular pom.xml have some something inside that particular XML file, and that is called as dependencies. Okay, so let me show you the dependencies. Here we can see the dependencies. This is dependency how we write. Okay, now it's very able to retrieve this dependencies. What we will do is we will go for browse and we will say MVN repository. Okay, so I will click here and I will ask for downloading the dependency. So here I'm going to say MVN repository. MVN means Maven repository. Okay, so I have clicked on it. Now I show you that site where you will get all the dependencies. So this is the site. It is called as mvnrepository.com. mvnrepository.com. So you can just copy it, or you can just click on this particular link anyways. So you can just drag this so that we can copy it and put it into browser. Okay. Just a minute. Okay. So let's click on this. It will be very easy thing to go ahead and take the dependencies. Okay, so it is open now. It is in front of you. You can see this is the structure of MVN repository. Now say I want a dependency for servlet. So what I will write here, I will write servlet, and I will say search. So this particular website will give me the dependencies which is required for servlet. Okay, so you can see this particular dependency. So you can copy this dependency and put it like this. So we require javax.servlet dependency. We also required few more dependencies like Spring Core. Okay, and we require Spring Context. Okay, and we require something called Spring MVC. Okay, so here is the name of your repository or dependency. So this dependency I have to add to process the MVC project. There is Spring IOP. Then there is something called Spring JSTL. And there is a dependency for MySQL because I'm connecting this project with the MySQL. So that's why I required a dependency called MySQL connector. Yesterday we have saw JDBC programs where I have used the same jar file. So this is a dependency of that jar file. So what it will do when we start a project or execute the project, these dependencies will go on the net and fetch the required classes and interfaces and provide it to you. Okay, so that is what we are using. That is what we call as dependencies. Right now, in this case, we are not going to use jar files. Why? Because if I use jar file, the weight of my project will be very bulky and it will not be executed fast on the output screen. So what I have did, instead of jar files, I have used dependencies. Instead of jar files, I have used dependencies. So what this dependency will do, this will go on the net and fetch the required jar files for this dependency and execute my project. So that jar files will be not saved. It will be directly used when you execute the project. I hope you are understanding the dependency concept. Are you understanding? What is dependency? What is Maven? What is POM? I will explain it to you one more time. Hope so. At that time, you will request, you will give me the answer feedback. See, we are using Spring MVC program. Okay, Spring MVC project. It's a small project I'm demonstrating to you where I can insert the record in database. I can retrieve the records from database. I can update and I can delete also. Okay, so yeah, what you have not understood, please repeat. Hello. Hello. Yeah, may I know the name? What you have not understood, please? Yes. Someone have said that I haven't understand the flow. Please tell me one more time which you have not understood. Which one you have not understood? Please tell me. Are you writing in a chat box? Let me check. Guys, are you there? Hello, guys, are you there? Yeah. So 33 candidates are here. Okay, I explained this particular scenario one more time. What we are doing is we are doing a project, a simple project where we are using MVC, that is Model View Controller, and we are using Oracle, using MySQL as a database. Okay, so our front end will be the JSP files and back end will be the Spring, and database we are using is MySQL. Okay, now while doing this particular project, we are using a Maven tool. So this Maven tool will allow you to write the dependencies, and these dependencies further when we run the project, this dependency will go on the net and fetch the required classes and interfaces. That is the use of Maven. So Maven is a tool which allows us to write dependencies. So where we write these dependencies? We write these dependencies in form.xml. Where we write these dependencies, we write it in form.xml. So form.xml will allow me to write the dependencies. So you can see here, as I said before also, you can see this particular dependencies here. So you have a servlet dependency. This we have used for controller. Then we have a dependency called Spring Core. We have a dependency called Spring Context, and we also have dependency for Spring Beans. Okay, as well as we have another dependencies like we have JDBC dependency, and also we have context dependency support, and also we have a dependency MVC and AOP. So total 8 dependencies I'm using. I will show you one more time. Please pay attention. I will tell you one more time. We are doing a small project where I'm using Spring MVC and database as MySQL. Okay, so this Maven tool will allow me to write the dependencies, and these dependencies will go on the net and fetch the classes and interfaces which is required for this project. Okay, why we are doing this? Why we are not adding the jar files like we have added in yesterday's session? We are not adding the jar files because that will make our project bulky, and that I don't want, because if your project is bulky, it will not execute immediately. It will take time to execute the project. So that is why I'm using Maven tool, which allows me to write dependency in form.xml file. In form.xml file. So what are the dependencies I'm using? I show you once more time. So I'm using a dependency for servlet. This is required for controller. Okay, so I'm having a servlet dependency for servlet. Then I have many more dependencies in this particular project. We have 4 dependencies. These all dependencies will require to execute the project. Then we have Spring Context, right? Then we have Spring Beans, right? We have Spring Beans dependency. We also have a dependency for JDBC, is Spring JDBC. Then I have a dependency for Spring Context Support. I have a dependency for Spring Web MVC, right? And I also have dependency for AOP, right? Then I have a dependency called JSTL, and I also have dependency for MySQL. Okay, now you may be thinking, why should I use JSTL? Why should I use Spring? Why should I use Spring Context? Right? Why we are using these dependencies? So I will give you a short answer. As we are in bootcamp, we don't have much time. So I just tell you these dependencies are required to execute the project. That is only the last objective. Okay. Now this is the dependency which we require. Now we will go for JSP pages. You can see my JSP pages are there in web app. So this is a structure which we are going to understand once we start the classes. Okay, it's a 2 big project, guys. It is not simple to start and finish within 1 hour. So I'm trying to shrink it and explain it to you so that we will match the time. So here I have WebINF. In WebINF, I have views. So these are the different JSP files which I'm using. This is the dispatcher servlet, which will take the request and forward it to dispatchers, forward it to controller, and further controller will execute the method. So you can see I have Java SRC main Java, where I have DAO separate, I have controller separate, and I have POJO separate. So this is how my project will look like when I expand it, right? So we have these classes, we have EMP DAO, where all the JDBC SQL commands are there. So I just double click here and I show you. See, you can see here, I have all SQL commands. Okay, this is insert record, this is update record, this is for delete record, and this is for selecting the record. So I have used this DAO file to execute the SQL statements on the database. Then I'm using the controller, the one which I have showed you in that image. I'm talking about this part. I'm talking about this part, controller. So this controller I have created here and I have given a name as hello world controller. So this is the controller which will anticipate the request and forward it to the DAO classes. Okay, that is the work of my controller. Now EMP is my POJO class which is having variables and getter setter methods, right? So this is what I have: EMP DAO, hello web controller, and EMP. Let's come to the view. View is a folder which I have created by right clicking on this web INF and new folder I have seen. So I can go to the new and I can create this folder. So likewise, I have created this folder and I have given a name as views. So in this views, I have a file for edit the record, for inserting the record, for deleting the record, and to view the record. So 4 actions have 4 J's. Okay. Now what happens is you execute this program using index page. So we will understand the flow from index page, because index page is the one which will execute first, and it will have this particular hyperlinks called add employee and view employee. This particular link, what it will do, it will have add employee. If you want to add the employee, then you will click on add employee, and if you want to see the employee records, you will click on view employees. Fine. Now I assume that I want to add the employee. Assume that I want to add one employee record. So what I will do, I will click on this hyperlink. So I will show you it by executing it. So I have right click on project, and I will show you that from where this request is coming. Okay. So right click here. We have to right click on project. So this is my project. So right click, say run as server. Okay. So once you see it is running, you will get 2 hyperlinks called view employee and add employee. These are the 2 hyperlinks which I have provided here. See here, it is getting loaded. So this is the first hyperlink, add employee, and this is the second hyperlink, view employees. Now imagine I am using we will first see add employee. So assume that I have clicked on add employee. Now what's going to happen once you click on add employee? See this project, when you click, where is my JSP? Yeah. So when I click on add employee, what will happen is first dispatcher servlet will get called. And this dispatcher servlet redirect me to the controller. It will redirect me to the controller. So this is the controller on 10th line. So this controller will call my hello world controller. So you can see here, I said context component scan base package. What is the base package for controllers? It is com.mycontroller. So you can see here is my com.mycontroller. I hope you can see this. I'm rolling the mouse over there. So it is handed over the request to this particular com.mycontroller, and my com.mycontroller will have a class file called controller. So here you can see it's a Java class. It's a plain Java class where I have written controller at the top. So this annotation makes your class as a controller. So if you delete this, your operations will not work at all. This is just a Java class for me. So to make it controller, we have to write annotation called @controller, right? Then see the particular link. What is the name of this hyperlink? If I keep this particular mouse pointer on index, see the the hyperlink. See the link which is used here. So it is EMP form. So this EMP form later will be matched in a hello controller. This controller will have a form called EMP form. Okay, so this form will execute once you click on hyperlink. Once you click on hyperlink. Now, how this form is getting called? So for that, we have to understand hello world controller. So this hello world controller will have this annotation called as request mapping. So the request is coming for add the employee. So you can see here, I'm clicking on add employee. I have clicked on add employee. Once I clicked on add employee, I will get this EMP form. But how? How I'm getting this EMP form? So answer of this question will be given by hello world controller. So this hello world controller will check this particular link or check this particular word which we have in our index file. So I show you this index file. You can see this particular word we have here. So this word and the hello world controller for this word should match. Should match. So once it is mapped, we will see the form which is running called EMP form. Called as EMP form. Now this EMP form, it will look inside the view page. Now how it will look? Automatically? No. For that we have dispatcher servlet also. So dispatcher servlet will do that kind of mapping. So you can see I have specified view resolver here. I have specified view resolver here where I have prefix and suffix. Okay, so this is the prefix, means it is saying that whatever file you are looking for, that will be available in WebINF views folder. So you can see here is my WebINF and views folder. Okay, so in that it will execute this EMP form. So how it is coming here? So it is written in your dispatcher servlet. So this is the bean which directs you to take this index page or EMP form from WebINF views, and it is giving extension as .jsp. Okay, so I tell you this process one more time. When you click on hello, when you click on add employee, like here, if you click on add employee, what going to happen is first it will call the dispatcher servlet. First it will call the dispatcher servlet. Okay, so this dispatcher servlet have context scan where we have put the controller called com.mycontroller. So after reaching your request over here, what it will do is it will forward this request to this package. Okay, from where we started from add employee link hyperlink. So when I click on add employee hyperlink, it will call the dispatcher servlet first. So this is the dispatcher servlet. What it will do, it will forward the request to this package com.mycontroller. So what we have in com.mycontroller, we have hello world. So this hello world file will get called, and the word with that hyperlink and the word I have written in request mapping must match. So you can see here is my index page where I have used this EMP form word. So this word and dispatcher servlet ka request mapping word must match. So this is your EMP form. This is the EMP form which is going to the dispatcher servlet. From dispatcher servlet, it is going to the com.mycontroller, and from com.mycontroller, it is executing this controller, and this controller have that word called EMP form. So finally, this method will execute once you click on add employee. And what it will do, it will call the form called EMP form. It will call the form called EMP form. Now let's move to the EMP form. This is the EMP form I have created. Now this is not a normal form. This is, we call it as spring form. This is the form which we call as spring form. Okay, so for that we have written one JSTL here. We have written one JSTL here, and I have prefixed it with the word form. So now this form will not start like HTML form, which we do write form in HTML like this, correct? So we write the form in HTML with this tag. So this tag will not be more. Now what we will use, we will say form colon form. So when you have this form before the form, it is a spring form. It is a spring form. So we said form colon form, method is post. That means I want to send the data. I want to post the data to the database. And what is the action? Action is save. What is the action? Action is save. Okay, so I have some fields over here. I have fields like name, salary, designation, right? So this particular name will be picked up from this path called name. Salary will get picked up from this path called salary, and designation will be picked up from this path designation. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to write all this content, like I'm going to write name, salary, and designation, and I will click on submit. Where I will click on submit. So after clicking on submit, it will call one method called save. Now this save is again mapped to some other page in this particular hello world controller. So you can see save is mapped here. Save is mapped here. So what I'm doing here, I'm saying DAO.save emp. Means what? DAO is the object of emp DAO. DAO is the object of emp DAO. Okay, so what it is doing, it is calling a method inside emp DAO called as save. Now let's go to emp DAO class. Let's go to emp DAO class and see where we have this save method. So let's go to emp DAO here, and you can see this save method here. So what this save method is doing, it is simply executing a query called as insert into emp10. So insert into emp10, then the column list and the values which we get from Spring Form, and the values which we are getting from Spring Form. So we said p.get name, we said p.get salary, and we said p.get design. So these methods are available to you inside the emp Pojo class. So you can see here is the get name, get salary, and get ID. So from here, this particular DAO is taking the value, right? emp DAO is taking the value. So these functions I have used so that it will retrieve the data from our form. The data of our form we are retrieving over here. Okay, so this is what save is. Okay, so likewise we have many we have other things also, but I guess we should stop here because our timing is over. I will be more happy if I get 1 more hour, but that is not going to happen because it's a boot camp. I really like to tell you all these things once you start your classes. It is not a simple project to work on. Okay, we have various things to say or explain. Okay, I will explain you in short again. So what happened when you click on this particular project, you clicked on right click and you said run as application. Sorry, run as server. So first, which page is open? Index. In index page, I have a hyperlink called add employee. So once I click on add employee, this word will get picked up. This word will get picked up, and we are redirecting it to the controller. Now, who is redirecting us to the controller? This dispatcher servlet is redirecting our hyperlink to the controller. So you can see I have made a line over here, context component. And I said that whatever request you get, you transfer it or you give it to com.mycontroller. So your request will be handed over to hello my controller, hello world controller, and it will call this particular method. And after calling this method, which form will get print? It is EMP form. Now, who will tell me where is this EMP form? So this dispatcher servlet will tell me that. This dispatcher servlet have one bean called as view resolver. So it will redirect my request to the web-inf views folder. So I will go to web-inf views folder and I will get the link as EMP form. So this particular form I will get, and I will key in the record inside this form and I will click on submit. Once I click on a submit, this word will get picked up and again it will go to the controller and it will see where this particular word is mapped. So you can see here it is mapped. Request mapping save. What is the request method? Post. From where you got this? You got it from this particular post method. So if here you are using method post, then here also you have to use request method called post, right? So what will happen here? We are saying DAO.save. That means it will go to EMP DAO and it will call the method called save. This method will get invoked. And here what we are doing, simply we are inserting the record. And that will update the database and we will see the record is inserted. Okay, so how many of you have understood?